So, first I'll tell you where you can start, okay? So, you can start in any of these 4 camps. Alright. Basically, you start the little camp if you want to have a leashless pull. And the reason you start the little camp if you want to have a leashless pull is so that you have your charm for the big camp. Alright? Because the big camp, you do it much faster if you have your charm. And, sorry. I haven't had breakfast, so I'm just having breakfast. We'll play Warcraft, but I figure this is more fitting of a League of Legends stream, so let me talk about it. Fuck, I want to talk about this, but I also want to eat my food. Feels bad. What is this? Oh wow, you could toggle notes? What the fuck? Alright, anyway. You can start either of these camps, and then if you start one of these, you just do the other. Normally you start Wolf if you are not getting a leash, and you start Wraiths if you're not getting a leash. Sometimes, if you're like topside, and you have, let's say your top laner, is, Malphite or something, right? Somebody that gives like a terrible leash, then you might not even want to get a leash here. You just start Wraiths, right? So this is just something to think about. Alright. So, now, you have a couple of choices. Alright. Let's say you started blue. Oh, actually, slight amendment. If you start blue buff, you can choose to do either Gromp or Wolves depending on what you want to do. But hear me out. After you take 2 camps, you start blue, you take 2 camps, right? You have a choice. You can either go for the close Scuttle Crab. So you would go for this Scuttle Crab here, and I'm using green dots as camps, right? You can go for this Scuttle Crab here, or you could go for this camp here. So basically, your choices are contest Scuttle Crabs at 200. I can even put a time, I think. Okay, so it's either you contest Scuttle Crab at 200, or you go for Wraith and Red. Alright. Cat Kid, I did not win the Lane Eve game. I actually got fucked up. And here's how you choose which one you want to do. When the game starts, you want to put down a ward here and a ward here. Okay? Now, this could be a pink ward or a regular ward or whatever, but you want to get both of these wards down. Okay? And basically, if you have both of these wards down, then you unlock the possibility of taking Scuttle Crab at 200. If you don't have this warded, don't go for the Scuttle Crab because it's too risky. Okay? If you do choose to go for the Scuttle Crab, and the enemy jungler shows up here, immediately stop doing the Scuttle Crab and go for the other Scuttle Crab. Okay? And then once you take the other Scuttle Crab, you fall back to your jungle, and you take some more of your jungle, hit level 3 or something. Now, if you go for this Scuttle Crab right here, and you see the enemy jungler show up at this Scuttle Crab, you immediately invade his wraiths, okay? You immediately invade his wraiths, and if you then see the jungler walk into your jungle, you proceed and invade his Krugs as well, making sure that the minions can't see you. So just look at, if you see your minions right here, don't show yourself here because they'll see you. Wait until your minions are like here, or if they're still here. Okay, that's how you know. Just don't walk past. Fuck, I have too many of these fuckers. Don't walk past here if you see a minion wave coming. Because when the minions are right here, aka right here, they can see you as you walk by it. Alright, so you take these two camps if you see the enemy jungler walk into your jungle. And then you have a choice. You go through here, right? You can either go and gank bot lane if their bot lane is like around here. You can gank them actually from behind. They usually don't suspect this. But if they're, you know, under their turret or whatever, if it's more like this, then you could maybe drop a ward like here, or preferably you should drop a ward when you're doing wraiths here if you still have it, but you're not going to have it actually now that I think about it, so don't worry about that. And then you can go and finish whatever jungle you have left here. Alright, because usually the enemy jungler, when they invade, they won't take everything, because they're scared of you. They don't know where you are. They're scared of you finding them and then the enemy, and then your teammates coming to kill them. So you come back here after stealing 2 camps, and you take whatever is left here, whatever is left here, and then recall. Alright. Malphite is your slave. You can use him as a guard against the buff. Phase Rush? Phase Rush doesn't do damage. You're just gonna be useless. What's up, Bora Bora? How you doing, man? Alright, so that is one scenario, right? That is the scenario where you go blue, Gromp, Scuttle Crab. You see the enemy jungler on the other side, so you take wraiths. And then you see them go further in, so you take Krugs. What you need to watch out for when you're doing this strat is the mid laner warding right here. If the mid laner wards right here, then you can take wraiths at most, maybe, and then you have to fall back. If the bot lane comes to help, you're going to be in trouble. So you really want to watch the laners and see how they react when you go for the wraith camp. All right, that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is you see the enemy jungler appear here, and you respond by going over through mid lane and taking the other Scuttle Crab, right? So depending on where you see the enemy jungler go from this point, if they go like back into their jungle, you can actually potentially steal their blue buff. Alright, it really depends on how fast you do everything. And if you see them, if you finish Scuttle Crab and they just finish Scuttle Crab, they're walking here, you could go take their blue buff and then fall back, whatever. Now, if you don't have these vision wards, if you don't have these 2 vision wards, you can't do most of this stuff that we've been talking about. You can't invade without vision, because if you invade without vision and they happen to be there, you are dead. Okay, this happens, and you have nowhere to run. If you try flashing, they will flash after you and they will kill you. You cannot escape as Evelynn once they find you in their jungle. Alright, so instead what we do if we don't have vision is we just do a 1, 2, 3, 4 camp, okay? And you always, so that's if you don't have double vision, right? You should always put a vision ward where you aren't starting. So if you're starting right here, you always want to put a vision ward right here, or some kind of ward right here. The reason why is because you want to see if this Scuttle Crab is available by the time you're done with your jungle camp. So at least put one of these wards down. Preferably the one that you're not starting at. And you go 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a very quick level 3. You'll be like 240 level 3. And oftentimes you can actually go contest this auto Scuttle Crab while the enemy jungler is still level 2. Alright. Now, something else to think about is top lane matchup and bot lane matchup. If top lane is like Malphite versus Maokai, you don't give a shit about top lane. Okay? Can't win through the top lane if it's Malphite Maokai. If it's like Riven Fiora, then you really want to go top lane, because whoever wins that lane is probably going to win the game. So, you want to look at your top and your bot lane, and if your top lane is useless, you can actually start topside jungle. Alright? You could do whatever. If your bot lane, if the enemy bot lane is ungankable, then you should probably start here. So if the enemy bot lane is like Morgana Ezreal, no way in hell you're killing that. There's just no way in fucking hell. If it's like Alistar Sivir or something, there's no way you're killing that. You can't walk up to them. So you start bot side. And if you're not going for a fast Scuttle Crab, then you skip Gromp. If you're going for a fast Scuttle Crab, then you take Gromp. Now, let's say, oh, another scenario that I didn't talk about. Let's say you went blue, Gromp, Scuttle Crab, and you don't see the jungler at all, right? He doesn't show up on any of your vision wards. Then you can't invade. You can't invade here because you don't know where they are. You don't have any information. So, and what you do, and I have a really hard time choosing between these two. You have two options. You either go back, take Blast Cone, and finish Wolves and do like a full clear until you're needed around the map. Or, I think this is the safer version. After taking this 2-minute Scuttle Crab, you either gank mid lane and go to your topside jungle, or just go to your topside jungle. And the reason for this, the reason why you're not doing Wolves here, is because you really want to be on this side of the jungle to protect your jungle in case the enemy jungler shows up. So if you're here and the enemy jungler now shows up, you just kind of like keep your distance from him. He tries to walk up, you just walk back, but you keep vision of him. If he keeps going inside and you keep vision of him, he's going to quickly realize, oh shit, he doesn't want to fight me, and I'm putting myself out of position for a mid-top collapse, okay? And they will back off. They will fuck off back into their own jungle. And then you can farm in peace. And basically, going from here to here protects your side of the jungle like this. Alright? What's up, Ayuka? And I think I just went over pretty much everything that you can do in the early game. Fudanchi, what's up, man? We're just going over some strats while League of Legends is down. I think this is pretty much everything that you can do in the early game. Just, if you do any of the invasion parts that I mentioned, make sure the enemy team can't see you. Yeah, man. Bora Bora, they said schedule maintenance. I don't know. And by the way, everything's the same if you go to blue side too. It's just reversed. What's up, Millionaire? Yeah, I don't know why it's down. They did say the scheduled maintenance, though. So, who knows? Hello, Boris viewers. No content right now, but... Nah, dude, League of Legends is fucking great. Don't believe them. League of Legends is fun as fuck. That's why we play it. Alright. Are there any more questions you guys have? Before I start playing something else, are there any more questions that you guys have that I can elaborate on? I think they're equally important. If you don't know what you're doing, you're just gonna have fun if you have good mentality. You know? Maybe not giving up will eventually win you a couple more games than you lose, but you have to know what's going on. Stop Desperate Ape. Dude. Fucking... This is brutal. I wonder what they're doing. Alright. Alright. What am I eating? I'm eating buckwheat with some nice fresh Italian bread and a tomato. Tomato. Hrečka, yes. Alright. Let me read these questions. What can you do against an invading enemy jungle and enemy laners that take your buff while your laner's AFK under tower? With a late invade so you can't rotate to theirs in time. Hydra, out of curiosity, what is your rank? Cause that's a pretty high level thing to happen, I think. Are you like high diamond? Just curious. I'll answer your question in a second. What game am I going to play? I was thinking about playing some Warcraft 3 actually. Boy, I was thinking about playing some Defense of the Ancients, dude. I was playing Kane in a normal today, and I did a bad gank bot lane, which ended 3-for-1. Yikes, dude. Feels bad. Maybe she told me to kill myself. That's fucking terrible, dude. Did anything have been changed in the new patch about build and rune with Evelynn? Not really, Hitman. We just got buffed overall. Well, we can't build, we can't get Ultimate Hunter anymore. That's the only thing. People without others to kill themselves are the most garbage humans on Earth. True. I'm chat restricted. Yikes. No, we're not playing. We're not playing Wizard 101. I demoted from Plat 5 to Gold 3. So we're 2 MMR. Ayoku, what are you doing? Ayoku. Our new account, just burned it with fire. Alright, so let's say the enemy team late invades you, right? This is truly the worst scenario. Alright, so let's say you are here. Mid lane is here, and you get late invaded by their team, right? The only thing you can really do is fall back. If you're here and they're coming to take your blue, I would suggest quickly starting your wolves and taking your wolves. And then pathing over to your left side jungle. After you're done with your left side jungle, it's up to you. It's kind of RNG. I would assume that the enemy jungler, to protect his jungle, would do some sort of like maybe steal Gromp, maybe take this thing and then go left, or maybe go left pretty early. So I would say just take 2 camps here and then go back to this side of the jungle and try to find something here. Now, this is dangerous because if you're warded, they're gonna fuck you up pretty fast. But you may be able to steal their wraiths, which is the only thing you need to be even in the game still. And then you go finish off whatever else jungle you can find. If you can find a scuttle crab, this is very, very, very good. The biggest thing I would say to protect yourself versus late invades and stuff like that is get these wards down. This is the biggest thing. Evelynn early game is really bad, so she can't contest this kind of play. But if you have vision on them when they're doing this type of bullshit, then you might be able to prevent them from doing this type of bullshit. Alright? Alternatively, if you're good at smiting, you could go for a smite fight. But that's really coin flip, and whoever wins the smite fight just wins the game. I hate that. I actually like despise that kind of gameplay. Probably partially because Evelynn is really bad against that kind of shit, but it's just like, fuck. Sorry, I hope you see me stuck in my head. Ah, much better. It's like coin flipping the game at level 1. It's so frustrating to play against. But yeah, vision and quick rotation off of your buff and onto other camps, because they inherently will have a fairly inefficient jungle path, right? Because if they're starting here and they have to path all the way back into their own jungle, and they most likely will even go all the way back to their own blue buff, their path is going to be really, really inefficient. So if you just go boom, 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 and then, you know, either like Scuttle Crab, or preferably probably this Scuttle Crab or their jungle, it's hard to say. The more information that you have, the easier of a decision that you have. But you're just trying to count how much CS. So like if you have this warded and the enemy jungler leaves here, you want to check how much CS he has to see if he took this Scuttle, to see if he took this Gromp, to see what you're working with, right? Evelynn, realistically speaking, on her first clear, only needs 5 camps. So if you secure 5 camps, you're pretty good in the game, right? Because the camps will respawn and you're gonna be able to farm and stuff. Your gold and experience are still gonna be okay. It's good enough. If you only secure 4 camps, that's when it's an issue. So that's why I say you need to figure out what else to take, because if the enemy jungler goes 1, 2, 3, and then goes into this side of the jungle and you try invading here. So he's taken 2 of your camps. You can't take Scuttle Crab because he's contesting you here, and now you only have 4 left. This is the critical. This is like, you know, critical failure. This is when you lose the game, because you've gotten only 4 camps, and he potentially gets like 10. You know, and that's not good. That's not gonna work out. Yeah. Another suggestion. I think Graves is the biggest like issue when it comes to late invading and invading your buff at level 1 and stuff, because he's a busted champion. I would suggest banning him every single time. Ever since I started banning Graves every single game, I have not run into this kind of late invade bullshit. But you may be on EU West, perhaps players play differently there. I don't know.